fingerprint-based satisfactory criminal background check. But now it says documentation of the CCCBC based determination of eligibility for child care purposes from the department. And we used to have a number 5 there that was talking about the SCRs and stuff. That is no longer there. That's the change, okay? So let's go to the next one. The records of independent contractors and student trainees in the old bulletin, number 1 and 2 are the same. There's no change in that. But number 3, it used to say the same thing, satisfactory finger-based criminal background check. But now, of course, we have to reflect the CCCBC-based determination of eligibility of child care and purposes from the department. Also, we have a change that says, it used to say that the language stated that the contractor was accompanied by a staff member at all times while on the premises, but now it's at the center when children are present. So that's the change. When children at the center, when children were present. On the premises used to be there, but now it's at the center when children were present. Same thing about that up at the center when children are present. That's the change that you want to denote, okay? The student trainees, number 1 is the same about their application and their name and date of birth and all of that. But they added a number 2 to list, and number 3 that lists the duties performed while at the center, and of course the documentation of the CCCBC determination for eligibility. Okay, continuing education. In the old bulletin, they had such staff. They deleted the word such, and they also deleted type 2 and type 3 and added early learning centers. So that means that early learning centers across the board, if you're an early learning center, 1, 2, or 3, okay? So they just took out the 2 and 3 to differentiate the 2. They also deleted, they used to have beginning July 2015, beginning all of that, all that's been deleted, okay? The continuing education, on that one, all they did was they deleted the word and. They used to have first aid and. They deleted that word. And then now they're saying that copies of the certificates of completion, or it used to say attendance records, now it says transcripts. That's your change. And medication management training, they removed that requirement for the deadlines for type 1 centers. Now it's across the board for everybody in early learning centers. Okay? Thank you all. Andrea. Show you I'm not used to talking with a mic now.
All right. I'm going to kind of talk to y'all about the enforcement for the new CCCBCs. So first off, I just want to thank everybody for their patience with this new CCCBC process. We knew it was hectic, stressful while we got it underway, so we just want to definitely take the time to thank y'all for working with us and being patient while we got it working out. So with provisional employment and monitoring, we want to make sure that with provisional employment, the staff will be allowed, provisional employment will be allowed for persons from whom the department has received a satisfactory Louisiana or federal criminal history information record pending completion of the CCCBC-based determination of eligibility. Provisionally employed staff members may be counted in the child-staff ratio, but they have to be monitored. So just to put it in simple terms, when you apply for a person to get the new CCCBC, make sure that until you get a response back, that person should not be on the premises. So if when you're checking your system and it's saying in progress, that person should not be on the premises until you get something that says they're eligible for child care purposes. If they're ineligible, they shouldn't be on the premises, or if you get something that says they're provisionally eligible. If they're provisionally eligible, they have to be monitored by a staff member who has completed CCCBC, which means they just need to be monitored by a person whose status is eligible for child care purposes. You got it clear?
So they need to be followed around, or
Not
every 30 minutes you go
It's
check
in
them,
here,
sign off?
But no, they don't have to be, you don't have to follow them foot.
Okay. So they can be in a room by
They can be
themselves
in the
or classroom?
They can be counted in child staff ratio. The person with the eligible for child care purposes, that person will be responsible for monitoring that person every 30 minutes.
Okay.
So like I said, you don't have to be next to them every time they take a child here or there, but you do have to kind of keep an eye on them.
Okay.
Refer to the doctor, they got one of these.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
What would make them provisional?
I can't answer that for
It's
you.
like they didn't get satisfactory or unsatisfactory.
It could be something that it could, to my understanding, and Valerie's gonna go into more detail about that, but it could be something that hasn't quite came back yet. One of the parts of the, one of the 6 requirements that hadn't came back yet. It could be something just as simple as that, to my understanding. But Valerie, make sure you ask that question when Valerie's on. Yes, ma'am.
So what if I have a provisional staff member and I have another staff member that she has her background check, but it's an old background check. Can she still be, the provisional staff member still be in the classroom with the other staff member?
The regulations currently says the provisionally eligible staff member has to be monitored by the person who has a CCCBC. We're gonna get back to you on that one because it was just brought to my attention today, and we were gonna discuss that. So I do have that on my radar.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I just so quickly to go back to the monitoring of that provisional. You mean somebody has to every 30 minutes of the day, like a 30-minute block, 30-minute block, so they're with them from 7 to 3, is what you're saying. That
Right.
person's with
So
them
like,
from 7
not
to 3.
like, this is my provisional employee staff. I'm in here, I'm walking in here checking on her. You can walk in there and check on her like every 30 minutes, something like that, but you don't have to be in a classroom room with her. Yeah,
So
not
just
for
walk
30
in,
minutes,
check.
not like 30 minutes sitting in
Some
there.
I've looked, but with
Right.
every increment.
Yes, so
And
from, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I just want to make sure that because somebody's with her 7 to 3 the whole day, but she just, the provisional, the monitoring person's gonna go in, check on her, and then sign the paper. Okay. And the other thing that makes it provisional is they live out of state.
Yes, that's one of the requirements, yes. If they lived out of state and it's taken a while to come back. Yes,
Well, let me
ma'am.
go ahead and mention this, because I guess I'm ready to go ahead and do it, but we'll do it now. If you look in your packet you got today, you got a copy of what we are saying that you can use. So the main thing to remember, and you probably remember this in the presentation we had, is that if the person comes in at 9, that's the time that you should sign. That should be the first time that whoever's monitoring the folks, that's the first time that they should sign. Okay, because that's what the specialist is going to be looking for when they come back.
And you have to sign in every block.
You
for
should
those
sign in
30.
every single block. That is the only way that we will know that that person was monitored.
She can be alone.
Yes, they can go ahead and work, but we need to be able to make sure that that person that's doing the monitoring is initialing these sheets.
Are you all aware that it takes 2 to 3 weeks to receive a response?
Okay.
Okay, so,
My question is, how do you get the ratios when you need a new employee, which you're 3 weeks out on responding on the back?
You know,
Do we just send children home?
we hear what you're saying. We do. That is a question that Valerie needs to be asked when Valerie comes, if you have this question about how long it's taking. Okay, we had a short waiver for about 2 weeks for child staff ratio. That waiver is not in effect anymore. Okay, so if it's something that you need to ask Valerie this afternoon, please take the opportunity to ask her when she
I
comes.
guess asking all this, we're going over all this, are we expected to send children home?
No, you can't ask us at the Department of Education what you should do for your business as we go through this process. I wish you could.
No, I'm asking what I can do with the regs on us. Do we send children home when we can get no CPC back?
There is-
And we find that we are out of range?
Ma'am, I can tell you for sure, I'm not gonna answer that question for you as the director.
Okay, so
You
I
have to
guess
make, you
I
have to make a
won't say
decision.
either.
Well, we're gonna work with you, and we have worked with you. That was very, that was the need that we heard, so that is why we went ahead and waived the child start ratio for 2 weeks. That, Valerie, and I'm sure her team would be down here, and they'd be more than happy to speak with you.
Uh-huh. You're responsible, whomever you designate. You don't have, it doesn't have to be a director, it just says whomever you, the designated monitor.
Repeat the question, please.
She asked if a teacher in the classroom could be the designated monitor if she was in that class.
You want to say it loudly first, I'm sorry, but I don't know. if everybody heard.
Her question was, if she has a staff, like a teacher's aide in a classroom and the teacher's aide is the provisionally employed, could that teacher be a monitor for that teacher's aide? And I said, yeah. And all she has to do is fill out the sheet. Yes, ma'am.
If that age has an old CCD, is that okay, or it has to be a new?
What you mean? Like if she's the provisionally, if the teacher aide is the provisionally employed staff, and if the teacher has the old CBC, that's what your question is? Yeah, I'm gonna get back to you on that one because the regulations specifically say that the person monitoring the provisionally employed staff has to have the completed CCCBC. So we are gonna have something, try to get something in the newsletter to clarify that one. Because I just put that together today. Somebody brought it to my attention today. So we are
It
gonna,
may have
it would
an
make
answer by the
sense.
end.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do, okay? So we may have an answer by the time you guys leave at 3 o'clock. I'll make a call.
Okay. All right, so we kind of discussed all of this, but I'll just say it anyway. The center must designate a monitor for each provisionally employed staff member present at the center. And again, whomever you choose to designate, you want to definitely make sure that person has, as of right now, what the bulletin says, a completed CCCBC. But like Sheila just stated, we might have more. We plan to have more clarification by the end of
One.
this.
No, I didn't say that
presentation.
yet.
And the center must
But I'm
at
getting ready
least
to hire somebody.
have at least one monitor physically present at all times in any room during nap time if a provisionally employed staff member is present. So what that means is if it's nap time, the provisionally employed monitor is in the classroom, someone has to be physically present in that classroom with that monitor. So I said, yes, the whole nap time. All right, the monitor, whomever is designated as the monitor, that person must remain within close enough physical proximity to their provisionally employed staff member to be able to intervene at any time and perform at least one observation, like we discussed, of that provisionally employed staff member every 30 minutes. The center must develop and implement a written policy describing the monitoring procedures, and the monitoring procedures shall include the requirements as previously discussed, require the center to post a copy of the policy in the center and a place visible to all parents and staff, and require the center to provide copies to each parent, legal custodian of enrolled children, center staff members, and provisionally employed staff, and obtain signed documentation verifying receipt of this policy. And the monitoring logs, we make sure everybody has copies of. The center should have a log or other written documentation of monitoring of provisionally employed staff members that identifies each provisionally employed staff member, the designated monitor for each, and the times of the visual observation. Yes,
I
ma'am.
just have a question. We're starting, the directors are going to get their triple C. And, so I have my letter written to send out to all my parents, but when is that due? I mean, is that due after everybody gets their triple C? Or do I send it out now to my parents? Tell them what I would do?
Well, I think we want to get it the moment when you realize you have a provisionally employed staff member, when it comes, because you won't know until you have one. So I would recommend sending it as soon as you have one. I would like maybe have it pre-printed. If you want to do just something simple as updating probably update your handbook maybe. You can probably make,
What we had said on our letter is like, if we have a provisional employee, this is what we will do. We will monitor-
That sounds-
we will put your record.
that sounds good. Probably catch
So,
everybody.
So is it due now to be in my handbook and my parents decided?
You have somebody already.
I don't think you have nobody right now,
Do you
right?
have anybody right now?
No,
You
all
just-
You don't have to do it right now. You don't have to do it until.
yeah, because I can't do my regular employees the next.
You, as soon as you're that first person, you make sure you have. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yes,
As soon
ma'am.
as we have one of these people, we have to have a policy.
Okay. So then that means that you have to let the parents and the staff members know, like how we was talking about the policy right now. They need to be aware that you have a provisionally employed staff member.
Is that all the parents or just the parents in that class?
I think it said of enrolled children. Can you go back right quick? Let's see. So the policies requires the center to provide copies to each parent, custodians of enrolled children. So it doesn't say just in that class, it just says the children period.
Okay, and then we have to post a policy, and that policy has to be posted in the front, so it's like, something to see what our policy is for, provisional secretary.
I think it just, I don't think it says it has to. Yeah, it says post a copy of the policy in the center in a place visible for all parents and staff. So yes, it has to be posted visible as well. Any other questions? So all the CBCs now into chapter 19 talking about physical environment. The only update that we did to section 1903 was just stated that an early learning center, except one located in a church or school, shall be physically separated from any other facility, dwelling, business or enterprise, thereby preventing unauthorized access to children in care. 1907, we updated to say that anytime feeding tables are used, children must be able to rest their feet comfortably on a footrest. So it previously said that only at meal times, they had to be able to rest their feet comfortably. So if you're using your feeding tables for activities or anything like that, you need to have the footrest for the children.
But if they can touch the floor, it's okay.
Bam.
If they touch the
Yeah,
floor.
as long as their feet are able to rest comfortably.
On
If you need-
something,
If you don't
okay.
have footrest, I think we were substituting like turning over crates, just something that you can use so their feet can rest comfortably. If your tables don't have the footrest. Also, we had that all 1907G, all furniture shall be developmentally appropriate. 1909 safe sleep practices. We want to make sure we added this, that a safety approved crib shall be available for each infant. So if you have 10 infants enrolled at your center, we want to make sure that we have 10 cribs available. 1919D, food service and nutrition. A minimum of breakfast, morning snack, lunch, and afternoon snack shall be served to the children not more than 3 hours apart. Food shall be given to children on individual plates, cups, napkins, or paper towels as appropriate, and individual utensils shall be provided as appropriate. J is bottled formula breast milk for infants shall be labeled with the child's name now. So we want to make sure that we're labeling. If you want to do, it says the child's name. So I wasn't saying this was discretion. Make sure you're labeling any bottled formula milk with the child's name.
First and last, or
Yes, ma'am. First and last,
full,
ma'am.
full names?
What you mean?
First
First
full
and
name,
last, yeah, first
not
name,
first
full
initial, last? No.
Nah, because what if you have like a child, like they have like
Yeah, 4 in a
somebody named
room.
Sarah. Everybody named Sarah. 2103, daily transportation, vehicle staff, at least one staff member on a vehicle and accessible to children shall have current CPR, to have current certification in infant and child CPR. So this is new. So make sure if you have transportation on your license and you're a driver, at least somebody on that bus needs to have CPR now.
Okay, so even if I'm not class A.
Master transportation law, each driver or bus
Or morning
monitor, whether provided by the center or through a contract, shall be provided a current master transportation law. And 2103F, passenger law, the law shall be maintained on file at the center and shall be provided, and a copy shall be provided to the driver or bus monitor.